That was annoying. YouTube does not like me. Sorry, I don't blame not like me either. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so now 3% ain't bad. I add a tiny bit here. Add some load. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding load slowly, holding the RPM steady with the dyno so that I can verify that the VE map is accurate. Alright, so that's what I get. All I get at 2,000 RPM is 2 pounds of boost, pound and a half of boost. 1.2 pounds. I'm making 40 horsepower right now. Can't bitch about that. 40 horse. How much timing do I got in it? 27. That's pretty good. I can probably put more in it. Alright, now we're going to back it off a little bit. Back it off some more. It takes a few horses to hold this thing at a speed. Alright. What's going on here? That's pretty calm.
That's one. That's not even one of the bad cylinders.
That's not.
A little bit, right?
Yeah. All right. Is anybody here? Am I talking to myself? I'm fine with talking to myself, but I prefer somebody to be here. Wrong one. I want this one. Hey, dude. Which Keta downpipe do I like that makes good power? Cobb is good. It depends on what kind of power we're talking about, really. I can't answer the question because I haven't done a lot of back-to-back comparisons, you know, so I can't tell you that this one definitely works better than others. I just know that I haven't had a whole lot of Keta downpipes hurt power output, to be honest with you. Most of them do pretty good. So, I'm trying to figure out my chat's not showing up here. Oh, it's the old stream again. This is being weird. This car does not have my cams on it. No, this car has Kelford 199E cams on it. I don't have cams for this platform because this is just a regular EJ20 head. And I don't have cams for that. I mean, technically, I guess my cams would work, but the cam timing would be way off, and we don't want to do that. Alright, back to tuning this link here. Let's do this. Alright, so fuel trims look really good in this RPM, so now I'm going to bump the speed up on the dyno 5 mile per hour. Let's get us to a higher RPM zone there, and we'll see how close our trims are. Looks like I got 6% added. Now, I want you to notice I only added 475 RPM, and the fuel trims changed by 5%. That's pretty significant, especially when you see that the VE on my map is 3 to 5 or 6% higher than it was on the previous step. This is why sometimes you'll see some VE maps with real large steps in them, and you're like, oh, it doesn't look good, it's not smooth. Well, reversion does not allow for smooth, and you get reversion and resonance in the intake or the exhaust or all kinds of things that will affect how well the car ingests air. So just because you see a bumpy VE curve doesn't mean that it's wrong. Now, there are some that you see plus or minus 50%, something's wrong, that ain't right, you know, but seeing, you know, a 10% swing up or down in an area is completely possible, and likely could be resonance. Now, it could be reversion or resonance. It could be resonance from the map sensor. It could be resonance from actually in the plenum, right? So it could be the map sensor reading the wrong value. It could be all kinds of things. But regardless of that, I still need to address that in the tune here. So someone said they had cams. I think it said 199Cs. Is that what it was? Wow, that was a long time ago. You just finished the build? Damn. Yeah, that's some time. All right, so I'm going to add fuel here. Now, what a lot of people tell you is to select the 6 cells around it. And I'm not opposed to that, but I was just in this last cell for a long time. But this does affect, they do affect each other a little bit. If I'm not dead center of that cell, then the previous cell will have an effect because the ECU interpolates linearly between the 2 cells. Getting more boost now. 475 RPM. I got 3 pounds of boost now, so the turbo's already more responsive with just 400 something RPM higher. Well, now we're at 500 because it's dragging the dyno a little bit. I'm no longer in closed loop. You see ECT getting a little high there. That's a little interesting because I got a fan on that sucker. It shouldn't get too hot. I'll back off here in a second. I just want to see what we're doing. All right. I'm going to lay off the load a little bit. I wish this chat window would pop up correctly so I could watch it. I'm trying to talk about acting, waiting for 2 liter to die, 289, burn exhaust valve. Yeah, that's usually how they fail when they have high mileage, right? That lash gets less and less and less as the seat and the valve start to wear until the lash goes down so much that one time you give it some gas or it hits high EGTs, the valve grows a little more, doesn't seat anymore, and you cut that valve. All right, we're at 5 miles an hour again. The 35. Nope, that's not enough. I'm going higher than that. I want to get to the next cell, or even 3,500. Right there, that's where I want to be. All right, so now I got a big positive trend, which I understand, because now I have 85 here and 83 here, so I need to go up here for sure, and at least this much. So we'll bump this up. I'm going to have this whole cell, this whole column, because I know it's about where I need to be, and this has got to go up too. I want to be really close to that, so that it's not skewing the numbers too much until I get over there. That's looking pretty good. And then a little too much right here, just a little bit too much. Now the boost's starting to come in. 6 pounds, 7 pounds. 7 pounds on her. Might have too much timing though right there. I might need to back off some timing there. Coolant temp didn't like it. You back off the throttle some, let the coolant temp come down some. In the meantime, I'm gonna pull some timing out of that zone. If this map ever changes. We've got 35. Bro, why'd you have so much timing on your car? Come on now, there we go. Alright, so I got a little too much dash pump feature going on. The neutral position switch is not being fed into this thing, so it's not being told to idle when I go into neutral. I need to see if that's fixable. I don't know if the wiring harness has, if this plug-in link has an input where the neutral is. So we're going to go to service manuals. And I believe we put an 05 harness in this one, if I recall correctly. What is, I hear, oh, it's me, my own video on my phone. I thought I turned the volume down. Oh, you know what? This isn't the best place to do it. This actually is not a good place. Because then I got to try and find the neutral position switch and then trace it out and see where it goes, the transmission. I mean, to the ECU. And it might be easy. Like, oh, motherfucker. I think I was there. I think it was right there on the screen. But it's easier if I go to the ECM pinout, right, than if I try and find it in here. And then you can do a search and hit neutral. There you go, neutral position switch, right there. To the ECM, A8, all right? A8, so we'll go down here. A is 134, 134.8. I'm looking at my link manual here. Let's see if I got that tied to anything. Verify that they have A, B, C, and D the same. They do. Okay, that's good. 8. Yep, they got the same in here. So A8 is not connected to anything. So that's unfortunate. I would really wish it was attached to a digital input so that I could tell it when the car was in neutral. Huh. Well, that sucks. Kind of sucks. I want to do a proper handbrake procedure, but the tuner down here has not been giving me a decent break-in map to work with. Well, that's unfortunate, dude. I mean, did you get it? Is it running on an old stuff, or do you change a bunch of shit? Because that's always hard for anyone to do. It's nice if it's running or in running form. You change the parts, use the old tune. That's awful nice. How do you get past all of the carb regulations? Well, not in California. So, California Air Resource Board is what CARB stands for. So I don't have to because I'm not in California. For federal stuff, I just don't violate federal emissions. All brand new sets on SD2. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, as far as federal stuff is, I don't violate federal emissions. I don't delete TGVs. I don't pull cats out. I maintain an EVAP system. You know, people email me and say, "Hey, I need my catless car tuned." I tell them, "No, sorry, I can't help you." Now, race car stuff obviously is different race car stuff, but not a lot different because the EPA is trying to say that even if you make a race car out of a factory car, you can't change the car at all, which is completely unrealistic. And it has been fought in the courts. It has been the subject of congressional hearings against the EPA and all kinds of stuff. So some of them are pretty funny. If you look up Senator destroys EPA spokeswoman or whatever, like, you can find videos of senators just ripping apart the lady, the chair of the EPA or the head of the EPA, asking her why she's doing all these freaking illegal things and stuff. It's pretty beautiful to watch. I'm a fan. Fuck the EPA. They have a good mission, but their execution is completely horrendous and practically a violation of civil rights. So I'm trying to find a digital input that's available. Here we go. The expansion harness. Well, that sucks. I don't want to use the expansion harness for that. I can use existing digital inputs that are used for ABCS right now, because this one isn't using. This has a 207 harness in it, but it's not using 207 heads, or even USDM ABCS equipped, like, 257 heads or anything. It's got regular 205 heads. So there are available triggers or digital inputs that are available that I can hook the neutral position to, and that won't cause any problems. Looks like I could use DI1 and 2. That would be a good one to use to get it to control idle when I'm rolling. Because right now it doesn't know to control idle when I'm rolling, so it hunts around a bunch. It goes up until fuel cutoff for the overrun strategy. Actually, I can lower overrun too. Might be a good idea. Let's see where overrun's at. If I lower the overrun fuel cut RPM, wow, that's taking a long time. Well, 1600 is pretty good. Do 1350. Oh, it doesn't like 50s. Well, fine. You gotta be careful with overrun fuel cut though. So if you do too much overrun fuel cut, the car can die because as the RPMs are dropping, there's not enough time for the engine to establish a fuel film again. So we'll test this one here and see if we can. So it hunts a little bit. Hunts a little bit while it's rolling. Let's go to here. This will show us our idle position of the motor right there. You'll see it's at 51 right now. And that's because we have a dashpot function enabled on here. So I think if I turn down the dashpot function, that should help as well. Idle base position is going to be like 46, I think is where I have it set at. Yeah, 46. So then we'll go to actuator. And we'll see power steering, dashpot. I have 5%. So let's make that 3%. We'll test it at idle. If I give it a rev here, that catches the RPM right before the idle setting and then drops it down. That worked well. Now we're going to run it again. I'm going to run it again. See how it behaves. It's a little hunty. A little hunty. What I can do with that is, what can I do with that? Let's see what the value is. Let's look at it again. Idle position. Okay, it's going to 50.5. So I've set it 46. I'm adding 3. That should be 49. Why is it going to 50.5? Is the the engine fan's running? Nope, it's off. So that's odd that I have an extra percent there. Maybe the power steering one's kicking on. Power steering request. We go digital here, and we'll accelerate. Oh yeah, it's an analog. It's a weird one. No power steering request. Alright, well then I'm going to reduce the dashpot then even more, since for some reason it's being funky. 1%, that's it, 1%. Check it on the rev. Still catches well. Still there's a little bit. So what we can also do is increase the mile per hour of the idle control. As long as my throttle isn't too aggressive, I can set this at whatever I want. 70 miles an hour, I guess. Oh, 15.5, I guess I can't. Well, fuck me, Link said no. So 15 miles per hour. As long as I'm under that, then it'll control idle on its own. Well, I want to do it at higher speed. Where's 15? There's 15. There's a grab, so it's a little better. That's really nice right there, but it won't do the same thing on the freeway. Not that you should be clutching in on the freeway and rolling the car in neutral at 60 miles an hour. That's not a good practice when you're driving a manual. Oscillates a little bit. Well, if I get the neutral position in there, that'll help a lot. All right, let's add some more load to it. We'll put some boost on it. We'll do a little bit of a pull, log that, and see how everything's going. Well, that'll cause problems. Try to turn that off. Well, there you go. I made an error in public. Oh, that's absolute. I'm like, what? 36 psi. Absolute, not relative. It's still at 22 pounds. Still at 22 pounds there. Air fuels were 11.0. They were pretty spot on, which is actually surprising. I'll try this again. All right. Lost cylinder. Probably coil pack. My guess is going to be coil pack, because it usually is. You start to accelerate, the fucking wire pops out the back. Even though there's no G-forces on the dyno, it always seems to happen. 14 pounds is the 1-bar actuator on the thing. You can see there 14 pounds of boost. 28 map. According to the dyno, I hit AFR of 12. Almost perfectly flat, 12. It's a little on the lean side, leaner than I want it. Yeah, it's a flat plateau. I wish I could show you with the laptop, but AFR comes from 14. As boost comes in, it drops down. It's 12, and just flat lines at 12. So that's nice. I lost cylinder. Go put this one together. Huh? Go put this one together. Lane. Ask him if he knows of coil packs that are missing that little tappies to hold the wires on. AutoFix active, yeah, but we can't find it. There it goes. This ECU has this thing where it doesn't power up all the time. I might have to look into that. Okay. Well, then I'm going to start it. You want to wiggle injector plugs and fuel pack plugs?
Yep.
I'm going to try and start it. They don't like running on 2 cylinders or 3 cylinders. It's not making any noise. Just miss a cylinder. What year, make, and model is your car, Paul? Curious what year, make, and model you have. You're saying 205, so, or 2 liter, I mean. Alright, we're going to do something. I want to turn off the injector. I don't want to test it. It's that one. It's that one up there because it changed when you're jiggling something. It changed. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. So it's a different one then. All right. Well, I can turn off coils. I wish I could turn off injectors. I can turn coils. I'm pretty sure. Or they're just on. I forget. Come on, connect. Okay, this ain't working. My shit's crashing. It's over there. What are you messing with over there? Probably loaded up right now. Coil pack or injector? Coil pack or injector?
Coil pack. See what can out? Oh, a little rough.
It's a little rough. Probably a little loaded up. I got my fuel on it. I'll do a little half full. Could be the rev limiter. Oh no, that was way early.
Sounds like it's firing all four now.
Off idle, yeah. Boy, this is going really slow right now. Well, 75 is the RPM.
Do you need me for anything else yet?
No, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I was cutting out.
Okay. If you need me, however,
I appreciate it.
I'll give you the money.
Thank you. If I'm needy, I'll come needy. Seems like it's breaking up under boost. Let's double check the dwell on this thing. It should have like 3 or so. Oh yeah. It's got plenty. It might be like a 1/10 of a millisecond too high. Whoops, that was a big change. Okay. Nope. It's got a bad coil or a bad plug. Bad coil or bad spark plug. Bad coil, bad spark plug gives that, especially the pops. The pops is usually going to be a cracked spark plug. I think it's got a cracked spark plug. Cracked spark plug, a bad coil, one of the two.
Has to be sold at 4.
That's what you're fucking with. Yeah, I would think so because it gets the crackles. You know, instead of just dropping a cylinder and right, you get the snaps and everything. That usually happens when it's cracked. The shit's like arcing between all this stuff. So, I'm guessing it's got a bad plug. But it could be coil. But you try moving the well.
What's that?
We try replacing the coil real quick, but I think it's gonna plug.
I'll pull the plug out since I'll be in there.
Okay. That is the life of tuning right there. Always one thing. 04 WRX. Okay. Are you just running factory EMS on that thing, like Cobb speed density or something? I love the Cobb speed density, but I don't like it on the 16-bit ECUs. And it's not their fault. It's just the 16-bit ECUs are kind of shit. So I'm not a big fan of them. That's why we got rid of on this one. This one here, he had a version 2 access port, and I'm like, it's not supported anymore, so you got it on a version 3. Like, do you really want to put $675 into a version 3 access port to continue to run the same shitty ECU? Or do you want to put that $675 towards a link that can do just about anything you want? So he went with the Link G4, which I approve of that message. Yeah, the Link is nice, man. Plug and play is nice. I mean, so is the Haltech. Haltech's really good too. The only thing that these guys don't do that I wish they were able to do was misfire monitoring. They just don't have the. Oh, so you already got it, so you're good there. But this gentleman that owns this car did not. He did not have it. So, but yeah, I wish these had misfire monitoring, but that's difficult to do. That takes a good RPM signal to then look at the delta RPM, or the RPM delta, and see the rate that's changing, and then time that with the combustion event, and when the crankshaft should accelerate again, right? I mean, it takes a little bit of logic, and I don't know if these manufacturers, these aftermarket ECUs want to do that. I think Motec does it, but, you know, that's cha-ching. That's some serious coin. I don't know if the R5 does it, the Nexus R5. Cool if it did. Eventually want to try one of those. I think Sean will want to try one of those as well because he's got the 2500. What? So it is broken.
I just put it back on and tried to pull on it. It must have been like wiggling weird. Start it real quick though.
The ECU is not powering up. Huh? The ECU is not powering up every time I turn the key on. Like, the ECU is not active right now. There it goes. Now it's active. That's weird. That cylinder's loaded up. Watch your toes. Feet. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, but it hit 40 pounds of boost.
Oh! That was why I got saucy. I was like, oh shit!
Something disconnected in there. Never mind.
What's up?
It's the ECU. I turned off boost control and it turned it back on again. So it added a ton of duty cycle to it.
Oh, so it wasn't a hose?
No, it's just something's up with this ECU. I gotta figure out what's going on. I know that the STIs and WXs have different jumper locations, but they say if it doesn't power up, change the jumper. It's powering up, but it's not always powering up. So
Gotcha.
I don't know.
That gauge isn't gonna fit in here.
Right.
Oh, gotcha. Alright. You good for now?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave that bottle off just in case if I do have to pull that thing off. The coolant jug. Or not the coolant jug, the washer jug. I'm gonna leave it out of the way for now just in case I have to get back in there.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you, man. It only hit 28. It only hit 28 pounds of boost.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, way more than intended.
Yeah.
At least the air fuel's good.
Well, when that turbo was like super responsive stuff tonight.
You can see what it did. The blue one.
440 on like a half full. Nice. Pump gas.
Yeah, pump gas. Yeah, that's the bad part.
Does this have your cams in it?
No. It's got kill for 199Es, which it's a 272, but with a lot of overlap.
Like the first rendition of yours doing this, essentially?
No, not this one.
No.
No, these are just plain old
Who's
E's.
your block?
Yeah. Yeah, 2.3.
Torque monster.
It's not supposed to be.
Aren't they?
No, the 2.3s? No, 2.3s are lower torque. They have a flatter, lower torque band. The 2.5s create a lot of torque. 2.3s are less, but they carry power really nice, and they just feel so refined over a 2.5.
I remember even in Garris's Legacy.
Yeah, but Garris's felt nice
that
too.
That thing was nice. Like, it wasn't like crazy fast, but it was just power the whole way.
Yeah, and he had my original version of the cam.
Yep.
The original ones. And
he
then
had like an old version you would start around pump gas. I think didn't they forward away on this dyno?
I think so. It still scooted. It was good.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
The 2.3s feel great. There's a lot to them.
Yep.
They feel awesome.
All
right, appreciate it. I'm gonna contact the link representative and ask him, hey dude, this thing only powers up sometimes. See if he's got any ideas. My phone fell off during that pull as the car tried to shoot itself at the dyno. Okay, I'm gonna start again. It's off. Again. Alright, and look at my lambdas. 712. Okay, well that's not bad. Is good. That's not what it is. It wasn't 10 to 1. That must be an error. Let's change that to lambda 1, not lambda average. Let's remove that. Add parameter. Huh. That's a big discrepancy between the dyno. Oh, okay, so just for a second, that's where it broke up. Right there. Okay, so just for a second there, then it went leaner. Up there. So, here somewhere. Yeah, 440 wheel, 26 psi on pump gas on the break-in tune. That wasn't intentional. Luckily, timing is really low. Thank goodness, right? 8.5 degrees of timing? Wow, that's a lot of power for you for your timing. That's the example of why I always tell everyone, lower the timing a bunch before you start tuning, in case you have issues. That was a high boost excursion there, and luckily the timing was 8 degrees, so that's pretty nice. Nice that it survived, at least. Oh, my phone was right there, I didn't see it. It had fallen flat. Top downpipe also have a spec C manifold with GetaDomTune. So it'd be really nice if you had a 207 in there with ABCS. Use the JDM ECU, you could do a lot with it. Have a good time. I need to send somebody a tune really quick. Just let me turn off display capture because You guys shouldn't be going through my emails. Hey, you get my email? It's a hybrid. Oh man, just kick me in the balls while you're here. Did you at least chamber match the heads? I mean, this was technically a hybrid build, but it had chamber matched heads, which are, I mean, practically required. Otherwise, you just don't make shipper power. The valves are so shrouded by the combustion chambers. I've picked up 60 wheel just by shrouding the head, or de-shrouding the valves by doing the combustion chambers. Popped the heads off, ran them on our CNC that we used to have back in MPS, or the program we had at MPS. Put them back on, 60 wheel. On a 20G. Like, it was gigantic gains. Because they're just so fucking bad. With that small compact chamber and the big bore. I mean, you can look at it and see the chamber hangs over the valves in some areas. It's just really, really bad. And then when that's de-shrouded and opened up, the air just flows through the valves so much better. And it was 60 wheel, man, on a 20G. So it's a big difference. Larry's Power. They milled the compression dome. I think you mean the combustion chamber. Otherwise, you know. So yeah, at least they did 54 cc's. Hopefully they de-shroud the valves, you know, by doing it. That'll be really nice. Big difference, for sure. Huge difference in performance. So, okay, well, I think I got the boost control system turned back off again, so that'll run just wastegate pressure. I do want to add fuel at the low boost. So the high boost is perfect. 11.0, bam, nailed it. But at the low boost areas, I definitely want to run more fuel. So let's find that. Fuel table. Be this one. And there-ish. Yeah, 26 to 29 PSI. That shit was cranking. Not how I want to break in a motor, but it's more about duty cycle though than just straight power. A little burst in cylinder pressure helps hit the rings, but a high duty cycle where you're holding them for a long period of time, heating everything up, that's not a good way. fuck I hate Turbo Smart wastegates. They're so bad. Alright, boost is better. It's not high. You can see the graph there on the screen. You can see here that it's increasing as RPMs go up. It shouldn't be. It should be flat. But that's what happens when you use a Turbo Smart boost controller. Or a wastegate. They just fucking suck. They're so bad. What's insane about it, like this right here. So I have this soft transition, which normally would be okay for if I programmed it to do so. But it's actually increasing lag just by being there. Tile, whoop, it's a setting, like perfect every time. Straight up, bam, max boost, or wastegate pressure like it's supposed to be. As soon as you can have it done, a tile will do it every time. This Turbo Smart, I could add duty cycle to the wastegate and pick up a bunch of spool. It shouldn't be that way on the external. With a 14-pound spring, it should be like just there and crispy and good. But nope, it's Turbo Smart, and their shit is fucking trash. So here I have this boost curve that's going up the entire pole. Like, it's dumb. That's dumb. For a lot of reasons. One, wastegates, their springs are calibrated based on exhaust pressure and boost pressure being the same. So what that means is that if exhaust pressure is higher for the same boost pressure, so if I say do 14 pounds, 14, 14, boom, right? Like 14, 14, like exhaust intake with the same pressure, that's what I'm going to get because that's the way it's calibrated at. If I raise exhaust pressure, my boost pressure will drop. That's the way it's supposed to be. That shows that the ratio between the diaphragm and the valve disc is correct. So think about that. Why the valve disc? Well, if my exhaust pressure, let's do it even, 10 pounds, and I'm pushing up on a disc that has 1 square inch, right? I have 10 psi, I have 1 square inch, that means I have 10 pounds of force pushing up on that disc trying to open the wastegate. So the spring would have to be 10 pounds of force to hold it shut. Okay? Now I add the diaphragm, and I got 2 square inches. I got 10 psi coming into that chamber with 2 square inches of diaphragm. Now I have 20 pounds of force pushing up on the diaphragm. So now I have a total of 30 pounds of force pushing up on that against the spring. I need 30 pounds of force on the spring. That's great. Now in any situation, if I raise exhaust pressure, then the boost pressure is going to have to drop for that ratio to be the same, for it to be 30 pounds. But if I look at my Turbo Smart boost gauge, or boost curve over here, it's going up the whole time. Frankly, that's fucked. As you increase RPM, if you hold the same boost or close to, exhaust pressure is going to go up. That's just what friggin' happens. That's how it works, right? So exhaust pressure can continually go up through the pole. At what point does it cross over boost pressure? It depends on the car. Up here at 2,000 feet, typically between 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, regardless of boost, that's where you're going to cross over, somewhere around there, at around, either 14 pounds or 24 pounds, based on how big your turbo is or whatever, it's where you're going to cross over. So what that means is that the boost pressure will decay a little bit. It'll have a little drop to it. As the exhaust pressure goes up, the boost pressure has to go down with it. I have that opposite trend here. I have boost pressure going up as exhaust pressure is going up. How poorly is this wastegate made? Does it have a progressive diaphragm? I don't know, it just irks the shit out of me. I shouldn't have to use a boost controller or boost control solenoid to achieve a flat boost curve at wastegate pressure on 14 pounds. Like, this should be rock steady. It should be just with a very, very slight taper downward because the exhaust pressure is going to grip a little bit. I shouldn't need a boost controller to have a good looking boost curve, but instead I have this always increasing, laggy bullshit that this wastegate's provided me. Turbo Smart wastegates are absolute trash. And I used to be so excited about it back in 2000 and I think it was 12, maybe it was 10. We went to SEMA and they released their wastegates that have the screw on top. So you could just unscrew the top, pop the spring out, screw it back on, pull spanner wrench, and then I thought, oh man, it's so fucking cool. I hate cross-threading screws on tiles. I hate dealing with it on the tile. This is gonna be the jam. This is badass. I love this design. I ordered like 20 of them when we got out from SEMA. I ordered 20, and as soon as they released my 20 of these things in stock, I was like, hell yeah, we'll run these fucking things. They're cool as shit. And then I put them on the car, and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? These things don't control boost. These things are terrible. They were absolutely just the worst thing I've ever put on any car ever. And then I felt guilty selling them to people. I'm like, hey, here's the really shitty wastegate. You want to buy it? You know, I bought 20 of them, and I was, man, it sucked. What a shitty feeling. So here I am on the car that we built a long ass time ago with that same freaking wastegate on it. Look at this boost curve saying, that's terrible. Alright, Paul has blew me up. That's why he apologized. It's a new OEM short block. Oh. Wait. Oh, but with pistons. Okay. I don't agree with that. Excuse me. I don't agree with that. I'll tell you why. The pistons aren't the weak point, man. The rods are. The rods are the weak point. Horsepower rating wise, the rods are the weakest part of that block. Pistons can do a ton of fucking horsepower. They just can't handle knock. So I don't see any point at all in putting forged pistons on stock rods. People that do that shit, they sell that stuff. I don't agree, man. That's literal fear mongering, right? I'm going, oh, you're gonna blow your pistons up. That's not what it is. I don't agree with that. Obviously, it's your build. You've already done it. You've got it for 7 years. Nothing you can do about that. But that's a waste, especially a piston like that. Now you've got a heavier piston on a stock rod, so you're lowering your RPM capacity and you're lowering your power capacity on the bottom end. So I don't agree with that at all. Nice damper, right size oil pump, good pan and pickup. I like all that. I like that you have the combustion chamber done. 54cc, not bad. Decent sized cams. The C's are pretty good size. The E's are pretty big too. I'm telling you, holy crap. 4-bar map's a good way to go, but there's no point. I don't see why you have a 4-bar map on there. You're not going to be running anywhere near that with stock rods on that thing, so there's no point in having a 4-bar map. Fast response intake air temp, that's fine. That works good. On a top mount intercooler, again, no point in a 4-bar map because you got a top mount, so you didn't run that kind of boost. That's the point of this purchase. 80mm MAFless short ram intake. Okay. 850 injectors, 18G. Again, 18G. No point having the 4-bar again because you're not going to be doing that too. But otherwise, yeah, I get you a 7-year-ago mentality. I know, I understand. I see a lot of bills now. I'm like, what, is this done in 2004? Come on. This one, do they make that for men? This is a de-stroked, 2.5, so it's a 2.34 liter. On a GTX3071R Gen 2. 205 heads that are chamber matched to the STI chamber, and they're a direct match to the STI chamber. Full 56 or 57 cc's. It's the exact copy of the STI chamber. They're not 54s or whatever. They are actual chamber match. And old school ID1000s, because that's what's been on this thing for years. A front mount that we did years ago at MPS. An AEM 3.5 bar map sensor. And on the Cobb adapter that sits on the throttle body. GM intake air temp. And Yeah, that's all I remember. That's all that matters, really, right? It's really, really shitty Turbo Smart wastegate, which are just bad. And then a standard, so actually a brand new Mac 3-port. It's got Link G4X, the newest Link G4. It has the Link CAN Lambda, which is their CAN-based wideband O2 sensor. And that's it. I got to figure out why the ECU only powers up every other keystroke. That's kind of weird, which makes it difficult to start. And other than that, I will add a little bit of fuel and then lower the rev limiter and send it for break-in, and then I will do the full-out tune in a couple weeks when I get back from my trip. So right now I want to add fuel through this line right here. Pretty much all the way across. Yep. And I want to add about 5% to it, which isn't going to be 5. It's going to be 5% of that value that's there already. So I'm going to add 5%. Okay. And I'm going to interpolate to this next zone over here. And I'm going to go down a couple squares just to interpolate a few squares, like so. And I need to pull a tiny bit of fuel, around 4,000, because the cams aren't as efficient here as I have them tuned for. Oops, that was the wrong button. There we go. Okay. Now that's hard to see because it's tiny on the window. So I'm going to go to the tuning page and do it on a bigger screen, make sure I get that right. I'm going to do a graphical, make sure I didn't miss any holes or anything. So a little hole there. This is where I just lowered some. I'm going to lower right here because it was missing right here. This was too much fuel in this zone. That's where she was missing on me. But I pulled a smidge too much out right there, didn't I? Okay. So this is 6,500 RPM right here. Up here is 9,500. So I don't need this thing to go there because even though it's got a destroker with decently sized cams and I don't have ABCS, I can alter the cam center line and it's not going to breathe up there. I mean, it might. I don't anticipate that it's going to breathe up there, but it might. Now, the timing was really conservative. As you saw, it was 8.5 degrees, so that was good and safe. The power curve is flattening at 7,000, so it's not going to carry a whole lot past 7. Like I said, cams are only so big. They can only do so much. Now that is where I added fuel. I want to add some through here. That. Then I want to adjust based on what I see from the poles. And I'm going to go here. A little bit. Well, that didn't work out. Right from there. Huh.
You have your screen mirrored onto your YouTube?
Yeah, why?
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, just showing people like how to do it, what I'm doing, that kind of thing.
My iPhone doesn't do that.
Well, it's from my computer.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the computer's doing it, and I'm just having it displayed on here for me so that I can see what it's doing when it's doing it.
Nice. How's this car looking overall? That's a lot of power for a break-in.
Well, one of them was a 20 PSI excursion.
Okay.
Because the boost control system was torqued up. But the 330 is the break-in.
Okay. Do you think that this is going to be something that would be safe for him to pick up, or no? He keeps calling and I haven't given him a verdict either way.
I mean, you guys still have to do more wiring.
There's more wiring that needs to be done?
Yeah.
Okay.
You still have to do this, the oil temp sensor into the ECU and the logging thing, this guy, into here.
Okay.
That still has to be done. And he hasn't paid me for the ECU or that yet either, or the can lambda.
I know, he wants to pay for what he owes.
Okay.
And then pick up the car this weekend, put his break-in miles on, and then come back for a dyno too.
Okay.
So that's what I was like, we could do that and do this stuff then, potentially.
When he brings it back?
What?
When he brings it back?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still going to work on the startup. It's still a little funky on startup occasionally, so
yeah.
I'm trying to work on that too.
I know that this weekend, just for some reason, it's like his weekend that he wants it, and I'm just like, I'm trying. Kylie wanted the same thing, but I told her there's no way. I said, I was like, even if I get a break-in map on your car tonight, like I don't have any time to drive it, and I want to at least put 50 miles on it before you go out, you know.
Yeah, well, also,
take it out.
does it have the wheel things on it correctly, or is it still holding on two lug nuts?
No, she got different wheels. We got different wheels. She went by this morning.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So I told her, I was like, you're very excited, but we put a lot of time into this, and I don't want to rush getting this out the door. I was like, if you can hang out till Monday, then let's do that.
So, yeah, so you can shake it down some.
Yeah.
Right.
Which ideally I would like to do for this one too, but he's in a different scenario to where, you know, he's out of town and wants it, but. Okay. Well, I'll let him know that we're still working on it on the dyno. I don't have a verdict either way, but I'll call him once we're finished out of here. If he wanted to do payment and pick up, as long as nothing arises as huge, then that's fine.
Okay. So speaking of all that, let's save that. Alright, so what I did there is I revved it up, and I turned the key off, and I put the pedal to the floor. What I wanted to do is I wanted to simulate that the car had been sitting for a long time. And so I basically stripped the port walls and intake manifold of fuel. It's got a lot less fuel in there than it would have been if I just turned it off. Because I want to make sure that it'll start in, you know, all conditions. So right now it's probably having a hard time starting. We'll see. We'll see what she does. Almost. It's not quite there. Now, I don't know if it's not enough fuel or too much yet. I gotta check on that. I do want to check my first crank enrichment. I got a lot of first crank prime on here. That's not typically where it's at. It's usually like around 50. Hold time. This is only after the car actually starts. Does it start decaying? It's only set for a second right now. So that's totally fine. Pre-crank prime. Pre-crank prime is usually going to be like double, or cranking is usually like double your injector pulse with an idle. I know that it's 2.2 right now, so it should be around 5. We'll do that. And then, of course, which map am I on when I'm cranking? Over here, and 66 VE is, it's pretty close. Might be a little low. At cranking the amount of VE, it's no longer based on a restriction of the valves. With cranking VE, we're just talking how much of the piston push back out before the valve shuts. And with a big can, it pushes a lot back out before it shuts. If the valve shut, intake valve, that is intake valve, the intake valve shut exactly at bottom dead center, and it's cranking really slow, then it's going to have 100% of its volume in that chamber, and so this would be 100%. I like how long that took to start, and how much I had to give it throttle for it to start. Obviously, I don't like that. I want to start immediately, and usually it does. So I got to see why. Yeah, you don't usually have to give it that much throttle, especially when I got 10 to 15% into the cranking already, and that's really honestly a little peculiar as to why it's so slow. Let me check my data here. I know I just kind of slightly fudged my injector data. You can get away with that a lot in standalones to some degree, but here's some old school IDs. Put this up. So 98 at 14 and 2.6 at 8. 98 at 14, so I got a tiny bit too much on there. Not too much though. 0.98. 2.6 at 8, so a little high there. Ten is 169. 1.69. Twelve is 125. All right, let's fill in those gaps we don't have data for. 12, 13, 14. All right. That's right a little high. Whoops, I did 8, didn't I? I fucked that up. That's 2.6. Whoopsie. Thought that was a different spot. Alright, I guess that's where it's at. Turn this up like that and see how that affects the start. Strip the walls. Better. Alright, now we're doing without stripping the walls. We're gonna stall it. Because people stall their cars sometimes, especially with a brand new clutch. And then I want to start up again. A little longer than I want. Still a smidge longer than I want it to be. My prime table is 5 milliseconds. Go with a bigger prime, but keep cranking enrichment the same. Just turn it off. This clutch just did something weird. Pedal was dropped a bunch. Now it's better. I had to pump it up though. Huh. You know what's weird is I have tons of maps for almost this exact situation, the same build. This one's not starting like the other ones, which has me wondering if something else is not going on. I started, still cranked a little longer than I wanted to. I don't know, it just seems funny. Something feels off. It just feels off. I don't have near enough dwell in it down low. There should be a lot more dwell in it. And that shouldn't affect it too much, but that's definitely not the best dwell map that I've had. And I really thought I had one that I could import. It was already built, so I have to build another one. But I guess not. So I'll have to just build it, I guess. So we're cranking, and we're down here in the crankage. That's a technical term, by the way. And it's going to pull in down here while we're cranking, and a little extra spark is not a bad deal. Try that. Check my timing during cranking. I don't have timing in there. Well, that's a lot of timing if that's where it's at. Wait, I mean I can't change that. Oh. Wow. That is not a good table. I don't know why they thought that was a good IAT table to have. That's better. I don't have ethanol in this car though. It doesn't have ethanol, so we're going to change that. Make this one load. I don't need much timing retard with no load. A higher load, on the other hand, you need lots of timing retard. This is not enough now, so we're going to go here. No need for that. Alright. What kind of things increase burn speed? Burn speed is increased by higher intake air temperatures, closer proximity to the molecules in the chamber. What puts molecules closer together in the chamber? More of them, right? So if I have more load and higher timing, or higher charge temperatures, I need less ignition events. Charge temp approximation table. What this is saying is what percentage of these two temperatures is what actually goes into the engine. So basically it takes intake air temperature and coolant temperature and decides what's the actual charge temp going to be. It can only be guessed. It can't even be checked. There's no way you could actually know without having some sort of infrared laser thing inside the chamber to identify what temperature actually goes into the engine. But the idea is that when airflow is low, it spends more time in the manifold, spends more time in the ports, and it's able to absorb more heat off of the valves and everything else, which makes the air temp that enters the chamber higher. When airflow is higher, there's more of it. It's moving faster to the ports. It absorbs less heat from all the stuff that goes into it, and then it goes into the chamber closer to actual intake air temp. That's what this table signifies. Now again, this is just a guesstimation, right? And in this case, you see I have it even on the top end, allowing some of it to go to coolant temp, only 10%. I'm going to pull some of that out. I think this one is, I think I put that on my RS like that. Let's get a little more authority to the intake air temp as RPMs are increasing. As RPM increases, airflow increases, boost increases, airflow increases. The amount of air going in, the amount of molecules that are in there are going to absorb heat, but they don't have much time to do it, and therefore I have more mass going into the chamber, less time for them to absorb heat, so their overall temperature is even more stable, and it's not going to go up as much as you have a little bit of air with more time to go in the chamber, if that makes sense. Alright, when I did that stuff, I let the car idle for a while. I'm going to turn it off again, double check it's stored and saved, and then do another start. Not terrible. I still wish it was slightly faster than that. Oh, I got a text message from somebody. So that restart was good. The question is, are all the restarts going to be good? I don't know the answer to that yet. So, what time is it?
It's like 5 minutes to 5 or so.
Oh.
So,
well, fuck me then. Let's fuck up this clutch. Did you grab Lane?
Lane? Yeah.
Have a good evening. Maybe you too. Fuck, I hate Turbo Smart wastegates.
Not working?
The boost is now 5 pounds higher magically at 3,000 RPM. I mean, I know I made some changes to air fuel and I made some changes to other stuff, but
They should have regulated that.
yeah, it should be better than that.
Well, it should have regulated it.
Well, Turbo Smart,
So if it has a
they
boost,
don't.
well, no, I know. I'm so saying, so if it has a boost target, it should target that.
Well, no, I don't have anything. It's just gate. 0% duty cycle, just the gate. So I should go to spring pressure and sit there. It's very, look at the difference. Those two poles. The green one, the pink and the green.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Can you pause that?
Can't necessarily pause it.
Hmm?
I can't necessarily pause it. Give me one second. Before we do that. So this clutch is weird. There's something up with the pedal on it.
It's super vibrating.
Yeah, it does that, but it also engages at a different point every so few pushes and doesn't return all the way up. So I don't know if the release bearing's bad or if the master is slave is going out.
The slave's probably bad.
The master's new?
Yeah. No, the master's not new.
Okay. So, but the pilot is, or the release bearing
The
is.
whole clutch is new.
Yeah.
It's ACT.
Yeah, I know that part was new. I just like,
It's all looked out.
I figured you did, but yeah, you feel it vibrating, and you push it a little bit.
Chatters like crazy.
Yeah, it's getting a little better. As it's only been out of the parking lot.
Yeah, I've never broken it. I took it to the Madison Street one time, just to make sure that the cooling system was continuing to work, which hasn't been.
No, not very well.
Is it still overheating?
Yeah, during the pull, if I extend the load, it gets hot. What water pump's on it?
Can you pause the audio on that?
1 second. What water pump's on it? Yeah, I can't admit it. Hold on.
Yeah. I need you to do that for a second,
All right, hold on.
if you would.
Yeah, hold on. fuck? Come on. Alright. Audio is back. Looks like it's actually clipping a little bit. Let's see if I can lower that some. Clip, clip, clip. Clip, clip, clip. There we go. Alrighty. So, got just about everything here that I need to get done. I don't know if you can see the graph or not. There's a flat board there, the 11.2. Boost it just started to pile up. Come on. Software's glitching. Alright, so hard restart's good. I have no idea what full start's going to be. I don't get the opportunity to fuck with it because I guess they gotta stuff like the car up, even though, you know, it ain't done. So, whoopsie, wrong button. So, I don't get to mess with cold start much, but that ain't at all, because obviously I can't do it if I ain't here. I think I'm good. I think I'm done. Honestly, air fuels are tits. Timing's conservative and safe. Rear limiter is set. The car starts warm well. It idles nice. Only a few things are weird. It runs a little warm. Things like that. So, I have the microphone off. I don't know if you can hear me now or not, but the microphone was off for a little while because we were talking some business stuff. Looks like it's going up and down on here. On the thing. I'm going to turn up a little more. Gain's up a little bit. It's probably a little high, actually. I don't know. Anyway, so I think I'm pretty much done. Everything is good to go. Like I said, obviously, this is the full DomTune. This is the break-in map. So the boost is on gate pressure, which I bitched about before. I worked on idle recovery, idle quality, startup, all those things. 620 wheel on 14 inch-pounds. Isn't anything to cry about. It's pretty nice. And I'm excited to get the chance to finish up this tune when I get back from my trips and it's all broken in. Yeah. It'll be a good time. It does get a little warm. Nothing I can do about that. I don't have control over that. Whether it needs a new radiator or a AC condenser that's not clogged, if it's clogged externally or something, I don't know the answer to that. That's something I want to look into. But unfortunately, since the owner's picking it up, I don't have the opportunity to do so. And that's kind of one of the issues when people want to pick it up like the day that it's, getting tuned. It doesn't give us any time to shake the car down, and I don't think that's a good idea. I told the guy that if we got the stuff in, I work on the tune, try to get the tune done by the day, but that doesn't mean the car's ready to pick up. And for some reason, there's been some miscommunication that it means the car's ready to pick up. But I mean, there's still wine and parking on the floor. Try these windows down. It's raining. Things like that are kind of irritating. But that's shop life, I guess. Started sprinkling and I saw the window was down, so we're gonna give them the heads up before someone's car got soaked inside. That's it, I guess. Yeah. So there weren't any tune-related questions during this whole process. Either I did a really good job explaining what I was doing, or I was so far above your head you had no idea what was going on, or you just wanted to hear my sexy voice for 2 hours. I don't know what it was, but regardless of your reason for sticking around, I appreciate it. And I hope that I will see you guys soon. Next week I'm going to Ohio, and I will be tuning the twin-turbo LS69 Nova that I streamed for like a week long before we did the build. It was just a chassis when it showed up, and then I built the engine and did the wiring harness and got it all in and did the accessories and tucking it, designed everything on the car during that week, and then got it running. That was a hell of a week, man. A lot of hours went into that for sure. But since I left, Sean has got his turbos hooked up. He's worked out all the bugs with all the other support systems, the cooling system, the steering, suspension, the rear end, tranny, all that stuff has all been worked out. Installed the flex fuel sensors and fuel pressure sensors and all that stuff too. And I've been remoting into his laptop and adjusting the tune from over here, getting it run better so we can, moving it out of the garage and that kind of thing. So now we're at the point where it's ready for some dyno time. So I'm flying out there. We're going to put it on the dyno, and we're going to try and make, a little over 1,000 wheel, maybe 12, maybe 13. I don't know. I mean, the turbos are rated for about 1,800. The crank, it's a steel block with everything except it's a stock crank. It's a 4.8 crank. It's not a belly crank or anything. But there's no reason why I think that thing couldn't do 1,200 plus horsepower. It was clipping. Yeah, I had it too high. I'm sorry. Yeah. And yes, I'm glad that you can appreciate my opinion. Be probably different than a lot of other people's. You can take that into consideration when you're doing your stuff. I appreciate that. So, anyways, the car should easily make 1,200 or more wheel. But if we get over 9, he's going to go faster than the chassis is certified for. So I had to do a low boost tune that keeps it around 900 to 1,000 wheel, and then we're going to do a kill mode tune that's good for smoke shows. And if he ever gets the chassis redone or wants to put the engine in something else, or get the cage redone, then he can do that and it'll be good to go. Plus, who doesn't want to do wheelies? So. That's going to happen next week. I will be streaming that, the tuning session, me pulling my hair out, and the sweet sound of 2 turbos on a V8 with exhaust pipes that are this long. So you'll get all of that glory next week. So hopefully you're looking forward to that almost as much as I am. I'm actually super pumped. And I know my voice is really monotone right now because I'm exhausted, but I am really excited for that, and it's always a good time to see friends and to go racing, because I don't get to go racing enough. Our local track closed. So stick around for that. And then I have some other educational stuff that I've been working on slowly, but been really busy with all these other cars and shit. So a lot of educational stuff to show you guys in the near future. So otherwise, have a good night. Thank you for sticking around. And I'm going to end the stream now, so have a good weekend too. Party on, America. Yeah, it's going to sound great, man. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really, really excited for it. So I'll see you guys around.